Yo, what's good, YouTube? It's your boy Nehemiah, aka Neo, and today we're gonna be talking about some hot takes for the NBA season. Right now, I'm just struggling with context, so we might as well just get some of the easy ones out the way. So let me just get this throwaway idea out. Shout out Rusty Buckets, he actually gave me the idea for this. I ain't gonna lie, he didn't give me the idea, I just stole it from him, but it is what it is. So first off, we have Keldon Johnson here, and there's a reason why I have him here. My first hot take of this video will be about my boy and how I have always been preaching that this dude is probably gonna average 23 points per game next season. 22 point. He's gonna be a French All-Star player. That's my actual hot take. He's gonna be a French All-Star player. If not, he's gonna be an actual All-Star. I think that this team is going to not be as good as they were last year, but I still think that Keldon Johnson is going to hold a lot of the weight for this team, and I think that he's able to at least carry them to the 31s that they usually get for the last couple of years. I think that the rise between DeJounte Murray with DeMar DeRozan and without DeMar DeRozan will be similar to this, where Keldon Johnson is going to have a really big rise. Because looking at this, even though he did technically improve, you could still say that Keldon Johnson really just benefited from more involvement with the offense. And this is the year that DeMar DeRozan was there, and this is the year that he wasn't. I think that something similar could happen with DeJounte Murray, though. So I really expect that Keldon Johnson is going to be one of the better teams, or one of the better players in the Western Conference in terms of his production. I think that he's definitely going to be an all-star level talent. That being said, I don't think he's going to be an all-star player because he has to average like some ridiculous numbers to get in. You know, a guy like Andrew Wiggins averaged some mid-ass numbers and he still got in. So you never know. That being said, I did campaign for Andrew Wiggins, so I can't really complain. Now, for the Cavaliers, there's really two takes that I have. One, I think that this is going to be an Evan Mobley big sophomore year. I think that this is probably going to be something similar to like LaMelo from this, or from the previous year to this year. I think that he's going to have some really similar to that. I think he's going to be averaging a lot more points, but I think that you're just going to see a lot more improvement from the offense. I think we're going to see a lot more talent on his end. I think we're going to see a lot more of a vocalization of him being the second best player on this team. Well, not second best. I think he's going to be one of the top three players in this team. I think he's going to he's going to leap Jarrett Allen this year. The reason why I think he's going to leap Jarrett Allen is because Jarrett Allen doesn't really have the best shot creation that you really want. Yeah, he is a big man, but he's really just kind of like I would say he's kind of like DeAndre Jordan, where he does get his stats, and don't get me wrong, he is definitely a good player. He's definitely worth more than 20 million. But a guy who may not improve that much compared to a guy who's, you know, one of the best defenders in the NBA. He's also one of the best defenders, but it's more so a rim protection thing. Evan Mobley's just flat out one of the best defenders in the NBA. He's probably going to overtake him in this year, you know, just getting a little bit more experience on his belt. I think that he could be maybe even an all-star player. I genuinely think that he could maybe be all-star this season. I just don't know. Looking at the East, I think he's going to be competing for front court members. So he would be competing with Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler, maybe Pascal, Joel Embiid, Giannis Antetokounmpo, obviously. There's none over here. Of course, this is his team. Jason Tatum, and I'm pretty sure it'd just be Kevin Durant. Ben Simmons could also be an all-star, but I'm not expecting him to. And based off of last season, I don't think that they're going to put Chicago Bulls. So he just has to be better than Pascal, which is not an easy thing to. Let's just be real. Pascal is one of the top 25, 30-ish best players in the league. So I don't think that that's going to be easy. But if he just has a better year than one of these guys, then I think that he could make it. I really do think that he could make it. The only thing is, you get what? There's 6 all NBA or 6 all-star level players on the front court. Miami's probably going to get 2. Well, we don't know about how Bam Adebayo is going to play next season, but I'm expecting 2. This is going to be 1, 1, 1, 1. So he's going to have to lock in between Boston and his teammates. So that's going to be something to see. No, that's not my actual hot take for the Cleveland Cavaliers in general. I think my hot take for the Cleveland Cavaliers, I think that they're going to be a contender. I've already explained my explanation for it, but just to sum it up, I think that they're still one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. I think that they have enough defense to kind of stop a Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think that they have a defense that is just super big. They also have a lot of nightmare matchups because they are one of the bigger teams in the NBA. They run 2 7-footers. And depending on how Evan Mobley looks, if his offensive creation is really good enough, if Isaac Okoro is also really good enough on that end, I think we're gonna see a lot more of a explosive offense. You know, they already have Donovan Mitchell, so they are essentially going to be running around with Darius Garland, who's just probably going to be one of the best offensive engines in the league. I think he's probably going to be top 10 next year. And yeah, I just think that this team just has a lot more defense than what a lot of teams really want to. They have more defense than what a lot of these other teams would want to play against. So yeah, going into my third hot take, fourth technically. Even though they do have some injury, like bad news this year, currently June was the 6th month, so he's probably going to be out until December, maybe December, but he probably could come back within the next couple of months. Like, he could probably come back in October or even November. But just saying what I really think, I think that this team is going to be the first seed. I think that this team is probably going to be the first seed of the NBA in general. I think that this team just has so much on their plate that they could really just dominate the whole entire NBA. Also, this should also be another hot take. I don't know why it's not. Let me get rid of this. I will talk about this later though. But speaking of, so we have a guy like Ja Morant who's obviously just going to average 25. He's going to be that type of guy now. Depending on how Jaren Jackson looks after his injury. What is it? It's just a foot injury. That's not gonna be super bad. So we have a guy like Desmond Bane, who I think is also gonna take a leap. I think Brandon Clark is also a really good player. We already know what he is. He's probably the most athletic guy on this team, except for maybe Ja Morant. I just think that they have a lot of solid depth. I think that they have enough to really just compete with the rest of the teams in the West. And of course, when they were playing without Ja Morant, they were still one of the best teams in the NBA. So I still think that they're going to really just be that type of team, you know? I think that they're just going to be one of the teams that you don't really see lose often. They're probably going to be like the 2021 Phoenix Suns. And not to disrespect them or anything, because I genuinely do think that the 2021 Phoenix Suns were one of the best teams. And even though they did go out weird in the playoffs, I don't expect that team to. So, yeah. One of my other hot takes is that I think that these two are the championship favorites. I think that these two are definitely going to meet in the finals. I think that the Clippers have, again, the most whole roster in the NBA. They have shot creation. Well, let me not do him a shot creation. They have shot creation with these couple of guys. They have defense with Robert Covington, Trey Mann, Nicholas Batum, even John Wall. Like, some of these guys, they have playmaking in John Wall, even like a guy like Paul George, who's improved on that end. They have spot-up shooters like Marcus Morris, Luke Kennard, even Brandon Boston Jr. They have so much on this roster that no one else can really compete with. I just don't know how anyone else can compete with this. I'm just being honest. This team just has so much on their plate that it's just hard for me to say that they just don't really win the NBA championship. Also, this is my championship favorite right now. It still hasn't changed. I really do think that this team is going to win the championship. Now for Milwaukee though, I'm always bounced back between them and the Boston Celtics. However, I think recently I've come into fruition that this is probably the team that I'm probably just going to pick for the rest of the season until I see something really good from Boston. So yeah, I think that all I really need to explain is I think that last year, if they had Chris Middleton, they probably would have won the championship. I don't think that the Warriors would really stop Giannis Antetokounmpo, and even though the drop coverage didn't work against Curry, I think the drop coverage worked against the team, and I think that's something to really look at going forward. And if the Boston Celtics kind of stick to that strategy, they maybe could have won, but it really depends on how they really played on the offensive end, and I don't think that they really did enough on that end. But I think that the Warriors do struggle a lot against this team a lot more because they're bigger. They have a lot more. Well, I was gonna say they have a lot more size, but I just said that they're bigger. I just think that Giannis Antetokounmpo is probably one of the worst matchups because a guy said that Andrew Wiggins was going to clamp up Giannis. If they put Andrew Wiggins on Giannis, he's probably going to have the best finals that we've seen in the last 15 years. Like, I'm not going to lie. Y'all thought like 35 points per game from Giannis is going to be crazy. Like, if they put Andrew Wiggins on him, he's probably going to average 45. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. Like, Andrew Wiggins is not going to do shit next to Giannis, bro. I'm sorry. But, yeah, I think that Giannis Antetokounmpo just has a lot more matchup problem, or he causes a lot more matchup problems with the East than a lot of teams really give him credit for. I think Miami does fit well. I think that Toronto also does fit well, but I don't think that they're going to face Toronto. So Cleveland, I would say Boston too, but once you kind of understand that Chris Middleton was out for this series, I think a lot of Giannis's pressure just goes down the hill. Like, he's honestly going to get a lot more ones with Al Horford, and I think there are some games where it was just him and Al, and he was just cooking Al. So I think that's something to really look at. I think that even Miami, I don't think that they would necessarily like lose to Miami either, because I think that the drop coverage against Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo really just does too much for Miami. Toronto, they're also a different case, but I just think that Milwaukee's still just a better team overall compared to these two, or compared to these four. So yeah. But my last hot take, I think that Zion is definitely going to cement himself as a top 12-ish player. We've seen the year 3 gap between Darius Garland, John Morant, and I'm blanking out on another name, but like y'all know what I'm talking about. That draft class in like 2019, they all had like this 3-year gap, and I'm expecting Zion to make that gap. I'm expecting him to average like 30 points per game on like the 5th seed. I'm expecting him to be one of the best players in the NBA. I'm gonna stamp it right now. This is the year Zion becomes a superstar. I've seen him in training camp. I'm convinced. If y'all aren't convinced, bro, y'all need to catch up, because Zion is going to be the best player, or is going to be one of the best players in the NBA soon, and y'all just gonna have to bear witness. So yeah, that is it for me. It has been your boy Nehemiah, aka Neo, and I hope you guys are having a great one.